We've got our first broker on.
Yeah.
Jard and Victoria.
Hey Victoria, it's Damien. How you doing?
Oh, Victoria, you're on mute.
Oh.
There we go.
Rookie mistake. Yeah. I put the unicorn hat on and it just looked too. Shall I put it?
Put
Yes.
it on.
All right, I'll go and get it. Damien's here, one of our brokers.
Yeah. Damien, you're based in New South Wales, right?
Are you talking to me again?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I'm based in Melbourne now, but
In
I work
Melbourne.
under my dad's brokerage is in New South Wales that I work with him under.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's your dad's David, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
I've spoken to David before. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I hear he's
that makes
fairly popular with credit.
He is. He's really good. Yeah. I think we saw him maybe 2 months ago at the FBAA event.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. There we go.
How's your dad?
Something on my head now.
Yeah, he's going well. He's sort of stuck in like a semi-lockdown in Newcastle. They've got like a stay-at-home order sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
It's been all right so far. How are you guys? How are you, Victoria?
Good. Just obviously going a bit nuts. So yeah, it's just it's like Groundhog Day, right? For us. So and then next week we've got the kids at home with remote learning.
Okay.
So God knows if they're actually going to do any schoolwork. And then you've got to kind of go, well, really, what are they missing? You know, do you get a job and they say, oh, did you do your work in year 9 or year 7? You know, it's not going to hurt them too much. So we'll be all right. It's just being at home all the time. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Are you allowed to you're allowed to move around like for exercise and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I might wear my unicorn hat to the park today, actually. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll just give everyone another 5 minutes. See who else jumps on. I know that we had a few. This is just a bit of a test one, Damien. We might even move to a different platform.
Yeah, sweet.
But we'll just see how it goes. You know, what questions anybody has. Jardine's going to be our moderator. Oh, look, he's got moderator in his.
Yeah.
Ugh. Do you want to see if you've got the other logo, Jardine, or just leave it like that?
No, I'll just leave it like that for now.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm old school.
Yeah. You're not up to date.
Hey, Kerry, nice flower. Look at that. Yeah, Melbourne Cup.
We decided I'm the angel and Mary's the devil of the company.
And I'm just the crazy unicorn. Mariana, where's your
I know.
I don't have anything. I don't know if I should just wear like a hat like Jardine, but I can just wear the normal one.
Can see Stavros has joined us. Hey Stavros, we're just going to give a few more minutes because it's a 1 p.m. Start, and then we'll kick it off. We won't hold anybody up.
If you guys want to just open up your chats, just at the bottom of the screen, there's a chat box there. We hope to receive the questions through chat. So does it officially start at 1 p.m.?
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
So we've got four minutes to go.
Yep.
Yeah. So Damien, Stavros, if you want to go and grab a coffee or a tea or a water whilst you wait, we've got 4 minutes before we'll kick off. In the meantime, we can just sit here and stare at our hats. Actually, I've got an extra unicorn if anybody wants one. I can send it out to you.
We're fine.
Yeah, we're fine, thanks, Nick. Thank you, though.
It gets really hot, actually. It's really thick. So, oh, hey, Shah.
Hi, Charmaine.
You're on mute.
Hi.
Oh, there we go.
Video is working. Should I wear the beanie then?
Yes.
I don't have any silly head, unfortunately. Oh, you look so beautiful. Oh, look at Mary. Oh, look at Carrie.
I love Kerry's.
Yes.
I didn't even know I had it.
Yeah. It's so cool.
I bought it for a race day once, but I never wore it. It was too big.
It's very like it's very
Mm.
there, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mary, is that part of your outfit that you were going to wear to the FBAAs?
Yes, I got that the other day. It looks so good. I was happy with it.
You know what? It's in November. I've rebooked all of our rooms, so we're going to have a nice time.
Yeah,
Something to
you'll
look
still be
forward
able to wear it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can wear it today. See, you can wear it to the.
Yeah,
there
I
you
thought I'd
go.
use the prop.
Yeah. Love the beanie, Shah. It's very winter
Yeah.
chic.
It's very cold actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying I've got an extra unicorn hat. If you want it, I can post it over to you.
Oh, thank you.
You want me to? I will. I'll write it down.
That's so cute though.
Things to do. Post staff a unicorn hat.
Yeah. Things to do. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, it's a pink one. It's cute. Hi, and who have we got now? We've got Tony and Greg. Welcome, welcome. We're going to start at 1 p.m. So we're just going to give everyone another couple of minutes, see who jumps on. It's our first Ask Me Anything. So this is a bit of a test run. I was just saying before we might move to a different platform, but we'll just see how we go. If people are interested to ask us questions or not. Go and grab yourselves a tea or a coffee.
Victoria, just touch
One more
on
minute.
the fact that we're taking questions through the chat, and then I'll distribute the questions to our team members.
We have a moderator.
Yes, for I am the moderator.
Hi, Belinda.
Hi, Belinda.
Yeah, so chat
Belinda.
questions. Actually, if anybody's got a question, if you want to start typing it in now, and then Jardine can start assigning them. So we'll probably just start it. Yep, it's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. If you're late, you're late. Hey everyone. Thanks for coming along today. Jardine came up with a great idea because he's into his crypto and everything, and they do these monthly or weekly Ask Me Anythings for their little crypto communities. I thought it was an awesome idea. So welcome to our very, very first Ask Me Anything. Within reason, credit repair related. So Kerry is single, but no date requests on the Zoom. She's even wearing a special hat. Yeah. So look, we wanted to keep it, a bit more casual. It's not serious. If we stay on for half an hour to an hour, I can organise for everyone to get CPD points or a credit towards your association membership. So that's all good. And we're going to be asking questions in the chat. So if anybody's got a question down the bottom middle, if you hover over your Zoom screen, you'll see a little chat box. Just click on that and then you can add your question into the chat box. And if everybody can just keep their microphones on mute when they're not speaking, that's us included. And basically Jardine's our moderator. He's going to read out the questions and he's going to assign it to one of the lovely team. And we've got all the BDMs here. So we've got Mariana, our New South Wales BDM. We've got Mary, our Vic, Taz BDM. It's Mary's birthday today. So happy birthday, Mary.
Happy birthday,
Kerry.
Mary.
We'll sing for you. We'll sing for you at the end.
Yeah.
We've got Kerry, our Queensland BDM, who also looks after South Australia, and Charmaine, our lovely WA BDM too. And Jardine is usually, when he's not moderator, he is our national sales manager / chases all the clients who don't pay us to pay our fees once we finished our work. So welcome to today and thanks for coming along. But I'll just hand over to Jardine and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to our first Ask Me Anything. We want to make it fun, and maybe today we'll go on for about 30 minutes. If we don't get enough questions, we'll start blabbing on about all sorts of things, so that's fine. But thank you for being a part of this today. Hi, Evan. Welcome. Evan, can you hear us? All right, Evan can't hear us, but anyway, you're welcome, Evan. So the first question today is, in what circumstances are unpaid defaults relisted on a client's credit file. I have one where the default was listed 4.5 years ago, and it has just popped up again as a new listing. So I'm going to cheat, because I'm the moderator. I'm going to cheat this time, and I'm going to answer that question. So I'll answer the very first question. Moving forward, I'll pass on the questions to different team members. So Belinda, thank you very much for that question. Where an unpaid, well, let me start off, where defaults are only listed for 5 years. They're only listed for 5 years, and after 5 years, they should auto delete, right? Now, if a client has received the defaults on their credit file, another default during the 5-year period, then I could tell you now that that is questionable. So that's something that is unusual and shouldn't happen during that term. Now, unless, of course, the credit provider has gone out and sought a court judgment default. And so that's unrelated at all. Credit providers are allowed to list a default and then seek the outstanding debt through the courts. But to list the default and relist it again, that is unusual. That is unusual and something that can be investigated. It doesn't seem right. There's also a statute barred period where a credit provider can't pursue debt where a debt has not been paid for the last 7 years. So if a debt's unpaid for the last 7 years and there's been no contribution towards that debt becomes dead. And by law, you can no longer chase that debt, right? Nor take action. Okay, so that is an unusual one, and certainly that's something that that would require further investigation. That is unusual, and that doesn't normally happen. So a client will receive a default. It's on there for 5 years. They exercise their rights through collection, harassing phone calls, mail, email, all sorts of tactics. Some of these credit providers know that, they know their obligations, they know the law, they know that it's going to be statute barred after 7 years. They sometimes trick the client, 6 years, sorry, 6 years, my apologies. Sometimes they trick the client into paying a small amount towards the debt. Like, pay us $5 today and we won't call you for another 3 months. So the client pays $5 and then all of a sudden the debt is alive again.
Yeah,
Okay.
no payments have been made and we were just waiting for it to drop off after that 5 years, and it's just reappeared, and I haven't seen that before.
That's fine. Like I said, that the reason you haven't seen that before is because it is unusual. Someone at the credit providers has made an error in judgment, an error in law. So we'd be happy to look at that for you. Today, we're answering questions. After the session, you can contact your relevant BDM and we can assess that situation. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
So just give me a moment, please, while I go through these questions. Okay, so the next question is from Stavros. Thank you, Stavros. The question is, if we have a client that has late payment history listing within 24 months on their credit file, can we help them if they are old listings? So I'm going to pass that question on to Kerry.
Thank you, Jardine, for that question. Okay, so the question is, as Jardine said, if we have clients that have a late payment. So I presume that this customer, Stavros, has some late repayments on the credit report currently. Is that right? I don't know if you're there to take
Yep,
us.
that's right. Can you see the chat? Have you pulled up the chat on the?
Yeah, I've got it there. I was just going to ask Stavros a question.
Yeah.
You can probably doesn't know, Stavros, bottom left-hand corner of your Zoom. This goes for everyone. You can unmute yourself if you need to add anything. And in the middle of your screen, you've got your chat box to write in your questions for those of you who joined in late. Sorry, just adding.
No problems.
Stavros is still on mute.
Still on mute, not there. All good. Okay, so I'm presuming with this scenario that the customer's got some late payments on the credit report, and of course we can assist. So if there's late payments on the credit report, we can look at compassionate grounds to remove those late payments. It will also help if the customer has been in contact with that lender and put something in writing or declared that they've got into financial hardship. Some sort of communication with that lender will really help us to try and remove it. I've been with Credit Fix Solutions 2 years now, and I know when I first started, we just couldn't remove many of these late repayments with the RHI when CCR first came into play, but I see that we're removing more and more of these late payments, and we're making such a difference for the customer's credit report. I guess it's changed the market with us for credit reporting. It's not just customers with defaults anymore. It can be anyone with just a late payment that we can assist. So say, for example, with this customer, he's got a couple of late payments. There is a life event that's occurred because of these late payments. We can remove them, and then the customer is basically back up to a very healthy credit score that can obtain any finance that they may require. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Kerry. I'd like to just to add one thing with respect to late payments and any clients that have late payments. Every single scenario is different. So we're on the phone to the client. Our scenario staff are on the phone to the client, getting as much information as possible. What is key is communication with the lender. With respect to late payments, we can all miss a payment, we can, but we need to contact the lender. We've got a 15-day grace. So if the payment was due on the 1st of June, as an example, we've got up until the 16th of June to call up the lender and say, look, I can't make payment this month. I've had to buy Valentino's for my girlfriend or for my wife, right? They must give any excuse or reason. The banks and the lender at that stage will switch off the reporting. The client did call, did give an explanation as to why they can't make payment this month. They will catch up next month. The lender must switch off the reporting back to the bureaus. And in that instance, instead of a 0 where the client has paid on time, it'll be listed as an R, the letter R for not reported. So that's very important. It's a top tip that I think every broker should reach out to all their clients, family, friends, colleagues, neighbors. And it's just a top tip. Let them know. I mean, in the old days, you used to miss a mortgage payment. You know that you're going to get an automated letter in the mail, and that was fine. You could catch up next month. You know, the bank's not going to come out and sell your home. They're not going to default you, right? But those days are gone, and people now don't understand that, you know what, they're entitled to miss a payment for unseen circumstances, and but they must contact the bank. They must contact the bank and say, I can't make this payment. I will catch up next month. And if next month they're in the same situation, they'll have to contact the bank again. If the bank sees a pattern, the bank will offer some sort of a holiday on repayments or a pause. Different lenders call it different things, but that's how late payments work. So thank you very much for that question. So the next question that I've got here is, this is from Chris. Thank you, Chris. When the default remains for 5 years, does it drop off at the end of the calendar year, or does it correlate to the month it was listed? So for that, I'm going to Mariana. Can you please answer this question? does the default drop off at the end of the calendar year, or does it correlate with the day and month and year that it was listed?
Hi, Chris. Yeah, so that's a great question. So it specifically correlates to the month and day that it was listed. So the month, day, and year. So let's just say, for example, a default was listed 25th of June, 2020. It will automatically delete 25th of June, 2025. So that day, once the client can reorder their report, and they will see that that default is automatically being deleted from the credit file. Unless a default is clear out watched, that's when it can stay on the report for 7 years. Then it's 7 years from the day listed. But rarely do we see clear out watch defaults. We probably see it, one in every, 30 credit files that we get, or one in every 50 credit files that we receive. So yeah, specifically correlates to the day, month, and year it was listed.
Thank you, Mariana. I'll further add to that. Clear out watch is listed for 7 years. The banks or lenders or service providers can list that on the basis that they suspect fraudulent activity, right? And where that's suspected, and I'll give you an example, an individual goes out and finances a car, makes one repayment, and then all of a sudden they're off the radar. Okay, they're gone, they've disappeared. Now, not all clear out watches are fraudulent. We've had cases where clients have gone out and obtained finance for a car, and then within the month there's been unfortunate circumstances at home where a family member has gone very ill, be a child or a partner, and at that point everything else takes a back seat. So that is very unfortunate. Again, we do look at those, and we look at all those circumstances, and what we try to prove is no, it wasn't fraudulent. What we try to do is get them to relist that as a normal default rather than the clear out watch. Shaves off 2 years for the client, and in some circumstances, if it goes back to the 5 years, then it's off automatically. So I hope I've elaborated enough on that. Thank you. So go on to the next question. Okay, so this is another question from Chris. Thank you again, Chris. How long do bankruptcies stay visible? Thank you. Now I'm going to pass that question on to Victoria.
Oh, my turn. I get a turn. This is exciting. It's like playing a game and you're just waiting, it's like past or something. Yeah. Hey, Chris, thanks for the question. And just again, anybody, if you've got questions, just open up your chat box down the bottom and just add your question in. And then we'll read that out and get someone to answer it for you. So how long do bankruptcies stay visible? I'm presuming you mean on the credit report? Yeah, cool. Okay, so it's 5 years from the date it was entered, unless the bankruptcy wasn't settled. So if they haven't, usually within the first 1 to 2 years, they'll have a creditors meeting and the bankruptcy is discharged. This isn't really our area of expertise because we don't really deal with bankruptcies and they can't be removed off the credit reports. But as far as we're aware, it's 5 years, but it can be up to 7. So if they discharge after year 2, say in year 4, it's 2 years from that date in year 4. So it can get a bit confusing. So, but if you want us to go through the report with them, we're happy to. If you've got one of those at the moment, just send it to us at sales. No? Oh, good for you. Vanilla deals all the way. That's what we want. Yeah, so 5 years, or then it can be up to an extra 2 years if they've discharged later on. That's part 10. Part 9 is the paid bankruptcy, where they go into payment plans. As far as we're aware, it's 5 years from the date that it was listed, not from the date that they were paid, from the very original date on the credit report. That's it.
Great.
I'm finished,
Thank you.
moderator.
Thanks. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you for
You're
that.
very welcome, moderator.
So the next question we have, I'm just going to say Hugo. So
It's
Hugo.
Lawrence. Hey, Lawrence. How you doing? I think it's Lawrence.
I'm not sure. Anyway,
And Lawrence for a long time.
so we've got a
Yeah,
question.
all good.
Thank you for the...
Hi guys. Hi Victoria.
Hey.
I just had this client this morning. It's a bit of a weird one.
No, that's fine. We'll get onto it for you. So, so the question is, I've got a client has 180 score on their Equifax report.
Sorry, 180 days it is.
Oh, sorry.
It's an X.
Sorry. So I have a client who has a 180 days on Equifax under CCR reporting. Account is joint, but partner is responsible for the payments. Can the X be removed due to the ex-partner's non-payment? The answer to that, I think I'll answer that one for you. So the answer to that is no. There's got to be grounds for the reversal of that X. There's got to be grounds for that. Where there is a joint account, the two parties are responsible for making payments jointly, or responsible for making those payments individually. So the answer to that would be no. Now, unless one of those parties has contacted the bank and provided sought assistance, financial assistance, whether it be hardship or a pause or whatever the bank may offer, then no, the client can't be helped. I hope that's answered that question. Sorry, guys, I should have passed that on to someone, but
the moderator's taking over.
Stravos,
it's fine. We can just go and like continue working. Like we're fine. If you want to
yes. Stravos, thank you very much for another question. So I have a client that has a default on his name by a telco, and he was not aware of it. Can we help him? So so I'm going to pass that question on to Mary.
Hey, Stavros, hope you're well. Thank you for your question. Absolutely, we take on both unpaid and paid defaults. Telco and utility defaults are the main thing that we look through and we get cases. So absolutely reach out. We'll take a look at the credit report and absolutely help this customer. By the way, I need to also say each time we successfully remove a default, it can add up to between 200 and 300 points back to the score. So reach out, because sometimes you will think that we can't help or you can't help, but we can definitely remove those type of defaults, whether it's paid or unpaid. Hope that has answered your question.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we've got no questions at this point in time. I'm going to direct a question myself, and I'm going to direct this to Victoria. Victoria, can you talk to us a bit about the industry changes, credit repair industry changes, and in particular, the new governance that's coming out with respect to ACLs, etc. Can you talk to us a bit about that and where you see the industry going with respect to regulations, maybe a bit about why regulations are very important, how they would help us as an industry and help the brokers and broker clients?
Yeah, sure. So I know that the brokers here, you're very much aware of license requirements and regulation. So you kind of know what's going on. Recently, ASIC just made changes when it comes to debt management firms, so not just credit repair companies, basically any business that helps a consumer regarding their debts now has to come under an ACL, but it's not a complete ACL. So I applied as a unicorn and got approved. No, I'm just kidding. So we applied for our license. By no means do I want anybody to think that this means that we're doing credit. I mean, I did my time in broking. I did 10 years in mortgage processing and broking before I started Credit Fix Solutions. And in no way whatsoever am I ever looking at doing credit. And in fact, our license, although it's an ACL, which all debt management firms have to have, including credit repair firms, to be able to trade as of the 1st of July this year. And we're part of that group, which is great. Under no terms does that mean that we can do credit. If we wanted to do credit related activities, we have to apply for the full ACL. So when we did the ASIC submission, under their portal, when we click debt management firm, part of our application to them was that, we had to answer questions, are you going to be doing any credit related activities? They just wanted to be able to regulate us. And that comes down to the fact, I'm sure you're all aware of this, anybody out there can say that they do credit repair, which has irked me since I started day one. And the reason for that is that you could very simply chuck up a website, charge a consumer $500 up front, $1,000 up front, which some companies out there are doing, and then literally just lodge an Equifax corrections and try and remove a default. And it's just like a 50-50 gamble, right? And there was no regulation. I met with Treasury about 2 years ago and showed them our business model as per their request. We're all about education. We've got our ebook on credit reporting. We're about educating brokers. I mean, at our own cost, we go out to events, we're training brokers, running workshops, webinars. And I am so happy that we're finally regulated, because what it's going to mean is that if you want to help someone with credit repair, you have to have had by now your license application submitted and approved for submission, or your license amendment application. So it may be some businesses already had an ACL, but even those companies have to then apply for this attached debt management firm license if you want to help with credit repair. So we've got ours across the line. Not going to do anything credit related. I know how difficult it is to do finance, and I don't want to ever do that again. We're very much focused on just being a long-term credit repair business in Australia for consumers and for brokers. And it's a really good thing. We also have to have an ASIC, an AFCA membership. So we've got our AFCA membership, that's all done and dusted. And the great thing with that, in fact, I was talking to my PR lady earlier today because she wanted to put an article out for us. I feel so strange being serious with a unicorn hat. Anyway, I guess like Peter White, FBAA, he wears his Joker t-shirt, doesn't he? And then answers some serious questions. So it can be done. Yeah, like with the AFCA, what it means, what I'm hoping it means, because before all this happened, you could be a credit repair business, you could take money off a consumer, and then that consumer had nowhere to go to complain. So we had people in the past, like over the past few years, every week I'll get a consumer calling me going, ABC credit repair company has had my file for 6 months. I've given them $1,200 or I've given them $770, whatever it is. I can't get hold of anyone there. Nothing's happened. It's been 6 months and I'm freaking out because I spent this money. At that point, we're like, well, sorry, we don't know. You're just going to have to go and try and get your money back, because there was nowhere to complain. Now moving forward, and I believe, although, this is just between us and not in black and white, I believe that ASIC will give all the licenses. I think they'll give us all the credit license, but then I think they'll gauge as to how many AFCA complaints a credit repair or debt management firm will get, right? And then you'll probably see all the sharks, all the dodgies being pushed out of the marketplace, which is a good thing. I've wanted that for a long time. There are some good companies out there. I'm not saying that they're all terrible, but there's a lot of people that ring us every week who've been ripped off by a credit repair business over the years. So thanks. Stavros, you agree with me? Is that question mark or you agree with me? Exclamation mark. Question mark? Yeah. So yeah, I think that answers it. But if you've got any more questions about that, please let me know. Pop it in the chat group. You can check out ASIC's website. There's a list of debt management firms who have either submitted their application and it's been approved, or they have their ACL and they're just waiting on their variance to the debt management license side of things. We're part of that list. You'll see Chelsea Planning and Consulting in there. So we just trade as Credit Fix Solutions. The company is Chelsea Planning and Consulting. And look, I mean, those of you who know us, we've always been very careful to make sure any client that we take on, number one, that they can afford our services and that they're not a vulnerable consumer, right? Most of them are coming from you lovely brokers, so we know they're just trying to buy a house and they've usually just been a life event so they can afford it. But number two, my big main thing, which I've passed down to the whole team, and I'm always like drumming into everyone's heads, is that if anyone spends money with us, anyone, I don't care if it's just like $200 or $1,500, it needs to be a benefit to that consumer to use our services. Okay, so for example, you might have a client who has two defaults. One's consumer, little telco default that Stavros was mentioning before, and then one commercial. Now, commercial defaults are more difficult to remove because the legislation is very limited as to the arguments that I can use when I go into written negotiations, because that's my main role here, is I personally manage all the written negotiations for clients, right? So I know when I'm looking at that report, and the scenarios team know when they're looking at that report, okay, we know we can remove that consumer default because we've got legal grounds, and we know our success rates with those very, very well. But then they've got this Snap-on Tools commercial default listed the same year, say they're both listed in 2018, for example, which we know that we haven't been able to successfully remove recently for a while. So it's about having the conversation at that point with the consumer and saying, hey, look, I need you to go and speak to Chris. I need you to go and speak to Stavros. The chances are is that we can remove that consumer default, but you might be left with that $600 paid commercial default. We need to make sure that Chris or Stavros or Tony or whoever can get you a better rate if you spend $1,500 removing that default, right? Because that's going to be the base fee for a small default under $5,000. They're going to part ways with $1,500, which is a lot of money for most families, and potentially they could not be in a better position. All right, so yeah, it's definitely about best interests. All that's been documented for ASIC. We have a risk management policy for all the staff, which I'm sending out to them as per the ACL requirements this afternoon to sign. But yeah, we're very focused. It's a bit like your bid, you know, your best interest duty. I suppose I've been in finance for so long. I've already applied this to the business. It's part of our ethics. It's part of our business policy, and it's part of our values. So yeah, look, we look forward to being here for a long time. I hope that answers it for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. Chris, you left a comment there, and thank you very much for that comment. Are these scenarios that we've looked at in the past?
Yeah.
The scenarios?
Yeah, they certainly are. I just feel a bit guilty. I'll give you the story and in good faith, and then yeah, some of the facts don't quite marry up with the reality.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. So these are two scenarios that we've looked at recently.
6 months ago or thereabouts, yeah.
And we weren't able to assist?
No, because once we got through the story, I think there's a few little gaps.
That is correct. That is correct. Look, we just to touch on that, when we do communicate with clients, we try to get the entire story, right? Now, if for some reason we don't progress with offering them a chance to come on board our services, it's not because we find it challenging or hard. It's because we see that it's going to be impossible. So by no means are we afraid of challenging or hard work. We love that type of work, but where we see something that's absolutely impossible to assist the client with, we don't want to waste their time or ours or the broker's time, and it's at that point that people just need to look at, alternative solutions for their problems.
Yeah, I just know that it's taken you like quite a lot of time to delve into each of those scenarios. And yeah.
We try our hardest, but thank you very much. So we're looking for a couple of more questions. So someone here, Greg loves our firm, and but he wants to go, and he's left us now. So hopefully we'll see Greg at the next.
Talk about love us and leave us.
Yes. Great. Yeah. So Charmaine, would you talk to us about lockdown? Have you had any lockdowns in Perth?
Thanks, Darren. Finally, I get a chance to talk.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, and we don't have any lockdown in Perth at this moment. We got just for 4 days, and now we are going to transitional some little restriction, just wearing masks when you go out. But apart from this, everything going very well.
Oh, very.
You know, our Western Australian government is very strict. He got one case lockdown, so, so now, yeah, now it's going well. But yeah, I feel sorry for like other state, NSW and Queensland.
Great, thank you. Thank you,
Charmaine. I'll just say as well. Sorry, moderator. Can I speak?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So with all the lockdowns, right? Just so you know, Charmaine, who's a PhD student as well, she's a million times smarter than me, that's for sure. I've seen one of her papers and it scared me. It scared me. Anyway, when Shah joined us, literally COVID started, and the only training that she's managed to get is Zoom, the other BDMs, and she's done like so amazing. She's literally gone to events, run events by herself. She's done workshops over there with brokers by herself, never been in finance before, never been in credit repair before. So just if the team can just give Shah a round of applause.
Thank you. Now you guys are like, I'm working with the smartest team and a beautiful team I have had ever. So Carrie, Mary, Mariana, Zardin, they helped me a lot, you know, to cope up with this situation. Thank you so much, everyone. And thanks our beautiful brokers.
Yeah, thank you, Charmaine. So we've got another question here from Stavros. Thank you, Stavros. Question is, I had another client approach me a few days ago. He had a car accident in October last year. And his ID was used online to apply for credit cards or card, and it's changed all his profile, address, and employment. Can we help? So can I answer this one, everyone? Is that okay? Please. Thank you. Stavros, so look, with our approach to assisting clients, we are not reinventing the wheel. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're very honest, upfront, and transparent. So for a client like that, although we can assist, but like I said, we're not reinventing the wheel, and something like that isn't too complicated at all. My advice, and this will be the advice of any of our scenarios staff or BDMs or our CEO, Victoria Costa, would be that the client, first and foremost, go out and get himself or herself a police report. So report this to the police as an event, get themselves an event number, and from that, at that point, they can approach the credit provider that's listed all these inquiries, provide the police report to them, and explain that that wasn't them. Okay, now the credit provider should be able to assist them fairly quickly and have that inquiry removed. With respect to addresses changing on the credit file, that would be as simple as applying for an Equifax correction. Okay, so they'll get onto the Equifax website and access the corrections side of things and put their story in, upload documents with respect to their ID and where they live, and also provide the police report to Equifax. Now, that'll take approximately up to 60 days to resolve.
Can I, sorry, just
Yep.
sorry, jump in there. Sorry,
Sure.
John. With fraud, they actually have to go, it's the same thing, exactly the same thing, but they have to lodge all of that paperwork to the credit provider, because it's the credit provider that has to investigate it, and then they submit to
That is correct.
Yeah.
I was more talking about the changes in the addresses. So residential addresses being changed because the fraudulent party went out and applied for loans under a client's name, is listed different residential addresses.
Yeah,
right?
that sort of thing. Yeah.
So
correct.
that sort of thing needs to go through Equifax corrections.
Remember when we had the client, male client, and he was listed as a Mrs. on his credit report?
Yep.
He was so angry. He made us do it. He was like, no, you change it. I'm not a Mrs.
So Stravos, yes, we can get involved. The client would, of course, pay for our time, and again, we'll produce a result and then get paid our fee. Some clients can do it themselves, but they choose to use our services. I can service my own car and go out, change the oil and the filters, but I don't have the time for that, so I go and take it to a mechanic. But thank you very much for that question. So moving on to the next one. Okay, so I've got a question here from Damien. Thank you, Damien. How do CreditFix assess any late buy now, pay later product payments, if at all? And would this change if these products begin being regulated? I understand a few of the big four CEOs are calling for regulation currently. So look, since this is recent with respect to regulation, etc., I'm going to pass this question on to Victoria. Sorry, Victoria, can you answer that question?
I always get the tricky ones, and then I get recorded, and then people make comments. Anyway, I know my opinion is valid. I've been doing this way too bloody long. All right. So, yeah, look, I mean, I've seen talk here and there on the news, people calling for regulation. ASIC seem to be running some sort of inquiries. I get their media updates every day. Buy now, pay later schemes, they really get under my skin at the best of times. Consumers think they go to Target or whatever now, and that they're just doing lay-by, and they're not realizing that when they use buy now, pay later, and the team know we talk about this all the time with buy now, pay later schemes, right? That they really severely affect people's credit scores, and they think they're doing the right thing. We had an article in the Daily Mail late last year. We had a client who bought a designer dress or handbag or something, and she thought she was doing the right thing. So in her mind, she had 3 months to pay it off. It was no interest. She was saving to buy her home. But yet she goes to a broker who says, no, hang on a minute, your score's under 600 or whatever he or she needed it to be, right? And I can't get you the home loan. And she had nothing else negative about her report whatsoever. She just used one buy now, pay later scheme for a friggin' handbag. And she had that on her report, which had pulled her score down. In fact, we remove things like that, little things like that. One buy now, pay later inquiry, the last time we did it was a few weeks ago, actually for a staff member, because she was new and she didn't realize she shouldn't use them. But we removed it. She had nothing else wrong with her report. Beautiful report. The score jumped up by, I think it was 75 points. And that was one buy now, pay later inquiry. So yeah, Damien, it's something that we look at, and yes, we understand that there's calling for regulation. We're keeping on top of that, and we believe there should be. It's not our space per se. We don't do finance, but we're always educating clients on trying not to use them if we see them. The good thing is that we can remove them. So if a client of yours comes to us, part of the scenarios process is that we look at the reports in a holistic manner. So it's not just they have a score of 550 and they have one default. You know, we look at inquiries. If they have some buy now, pay later inquiries, we can remove those, and also repayment history information. So it's always holistic, you know, but yeah, we can get them off.
Great.
Yeah, no,
I'll add something to that, Victoria. So Chris has asked a question. I'll respond to that. Further to Damien's question, how much does Afterpay, etc., affect the score? So just to give you an example, if I was to go and inquire for a one of those facilities today, I could lose up to 150 points straight off the bat, 150 points. And so what happens, of course, is as the months sort of travel by and pass, I'll recover maybe about 10 points every couple of months, you know, from that 150 points. And that's why when Victoria said we've removed one ZipPay inquiry, it increased the score by 75. But rest assured that it was the score that was lost at the time of the inquiry was a lot more than that. Now, the reason for those, the reason people are being penalized so much, because it shows a weakness with respect to your buying habits. It's not strength. You know, you might go out and put in an inquiry for $1 million home loan. If you look at your report the next day, you'll be surprised, and we've seen that in the past. Your scores increased by 5 points. I mean, you were rewarded, right? But that shows us, an inquiry. It shows a level of strength to apply for a $1 million home loan. Means you should have a minimum of $100,000 to $200,000 in your bank account, for example, right? So one inquiry is a show of strength. The other inquiry is a show of weakness. Now, of course, individuals don't understand that. And so again, that would be another top tip, to reach out to all your clients and everyone that Facebook, Instagram, all your social media, through your emails. Another top tip, let them know to steer away from those types of inquiries. Okay. But if you ever do have clients with those inquiries and you want them removed, we're happy to challenge them with the credit provider. And we are very, very successful with challenging them. Okay. So thank you very much for that. Moving on to the next question. So we don't have any further questions. So I guess we can wrap this up.
I'm happy to, if everyone wants to stay for another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Would you want to do some top tips, Jard, or something?
Yeah, we can do some top tips.
Yeah.
I'll start off with the first one, and then we'll have turns, right? Look, the importance of top tips is, our name, Credit Fix Solutions, says it all. It tells everyone what we do, what services we offer. We really don't need to go out and, and advertise what we do, because it says it in our name. And you guys as brokers, and people know exactly, the field that you guys operate in, and that's providing a service where you're, writing loans for people, etc., or assisting them with that. So they really don't need to know what you do, because it's all there. They know, right? What we find that's very helpful and very engaging is providing people these top tips, right? Providing people top tips and just steering away from what we offer as a service, right? What we offer as a service comes later, but it's really about engaging people, right? And having people to think about it. Wow, I didn't know this, right? So a top tip that I would recommend, my first top tip would be that encourage people to sign up with an Equifax membership. Very important. And the reason for that is, if you're at home watching TV, watching MasterChef or one of these top shows today, and all of a sudden there's an inquiry on your credit file. You're sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden there's an inquiry with the Commonwealth Bank, right? You get that alert as an SMS on your phone. So, hey, you've just made an inquiry, right? You can then access your credit file. You'll see what that inquiry is about. You'll be able to contact the lender straight away and say, hey, look, I've just been hit up with some fraudulent activity, okay? Now, prevention is always better than trying to fix things later, right? And clients don't know that they've had these inquiries, or they've had, these hits on their, and they could be Telstra inquiries where, the scams where people are going out trying to obtain brand new phones, for example, right? You need to know about that straight away. You need to be able to call up the credit provider or service provider straight away and have that reversed and claim fraud, right? So that's a top tip. A lot of scams, a lot of hackings going on. Times have changed. I personally get calls every day talking about fraudulent activity on their credit files. So prevention is always better than trying to fix it down the track. So top tip, get an Equifax membership to be able to monitor your credit file live. So that's my top tip. And I hope you guys email that to all your clients. They would really appreciate that. And do ask them to share that with all their friends and family. Okay, so that's mine. So the next top tip, we'll ask Mariana. Mariana, what's your top tip?
Yeah. So my top tip would be to see what the lenders are seeing. So there are 4 credit reporting bodies in Australia. It's not only Equifax. Equifax is the main report, but there's also an Illion and Experian report, and also a Creditor Watch report if your a client is director of a company. So these 4 reports don't all link up. So you may have information on one report that that isn't on the other report, or doesn't isn't matching to, say, the Equifax report. So it's very important to have a look at all 4 reports, especially if your client has mentioned that they've had a dispute in the past, or they've gone through financial hardship. It is very important for them to get their free Illion and Experian report to then compare this to what is on the Equifax report. Yeah, we do see this quite often, actually. So I had a referrer come to me the other day, and their client was actually declined because there was a telco default on their report. However, the bank didn't specify what report it was. They didn't specify what the default was. So I did advise that the client order their free Illion and Experian credit file. And lo and behold, it was on their Illion report. So it's very important. I mean, it's free to order. It's only a couple minutes, and then you get to see exactly what all the lenders are doing.
So all lenders look at and must look at all 3 credit reporting bureaus when it comes to an individual. Where they're a director of a company, they'll also look at the company reports as well. So they will look at all 4, and it's not just the Equifax that's affected. The Illion can be affected, your Experian can be affected, and it's not, it's not guaranteed that the one default is going to be, on all 4 reports. There could, Equifax could be clear, Illion could be affected, right? So top tip, brokers, encourage your clients to present you with the other 2 reports, the Experian report and the Illion report. I suspect that you guys wouldn't have a subscription for Experian and Illion. You'd only have a subscription for Equifax. So get them to get the other 2 reports. They're free to get, but they're very important. Thank you very much. Mary, top tip, please.
Hi, everyone. My top tip is, I think we forget sometimes that, you know, when you do your needs analysis, customers forget whether they've got a default, right? So my top tip would be get into the habit of ordering a credit report up front. That would also alleviate getting auto declines, for example. So use your credit report as a Bible. You know, you can sort of measure the liabilities that the customer is telling you compared to what is on the report. So get in the habit of just reading it, ordering it up front. I think it'll help you with your applications going forward, and reach out to us, guys. You know, if there's something on the report that you're not familiar with, reach out. We're here to help you. You know, we want to streamline and make your applications easy, so utilize us.
Great, thank you, Mary. Mary's top tip is to again, make sure you obtain all reports before submitting, and that way you not risking the chances of an auto decline by one of the lenders. And we see that a lot of times, many times during the day. We see that where a broker is submitted based on the Equifax report looking great. It gets auto declined, and then now, of course, they've got an inquiry on their file making things worse, and they have to resubmit again once we've done our work and removed whatever is listed on the Illion report. Thank you very much, Mary. Next top tip, Charmaine. Charmaine, do you have a top tip for us?
Yes, I think I would like to mention one top tip for your client. So, for example, if your client are experiencing a financial hardship or any type of hardship, so let them know they can put their request for financial assistance in writing via email to the relevant department as soon as possible. And they can also chase this app as well. So because for the COVID, lots of people have lost their jobs or business income. And now we do have 15-day grace period from the due date of any of our loans that are recorded on our reports. So that gives your clients 2-week window to lodge a request for financial assistance if they are suffering from financial hardship. So that's way that negative RHI, repayment history information, does not get recorded on their credit report whilst your client is in formal financial assistance package. So that's why if client informed to the lender must report an R. I think Zarin mentioned earlier, R is indicating not reported. So the lender must report an R instead of reporting 1 or 2, for example. So that's thing we need to be educating our clients so that they can lodge financial assistance requests to proactively protect their credit reports for the future.
Thank you, Charmaine. Thank you very much for that. So Charmaine's top tip is just another top tip that you want to email and spam all your clients and everyone that you know to reach out to the banks if there are any financial hardships, or the lenders or service provider. Most people bury their head in the sand, most people, right? People are scared of calling up the banks or the service provider or the whatever provider that's that can affect their credit file. Most people bury their head in the sand. It is important that they do pick up that phone, call up and ask for assistance. If they do that, they will be given assistance and it will not affect their credit file moving forward. Now, something that I've noticed and I'd like to bring up is during the COVID period, a lot of people did enter into some sort of a hardship arrangement with their bank. And what that's created is a lot of consecutive R's on their credit file. So you'll see an entire 6 months worth of R's is not reported. Now they've gone on to, say, buy a house or apply for a personal loan, and they're actually getting questioned. They talk to us about these R's. What are these about? What is happening there, right? So I've had a couple of them over the last 2 weeks. I mean, yes, R is not reported, but when you see 6 months consecutive R's, they are raising those questions. And there needs to be an answer. And the only answer, of course, is the honest answer. Is I was going through some financial hardship due to COVID. I've had to put that on pause, and now I'm okay again. Okay, so they're picking up on that. So thank you, Charmaine, for that. Next top tip, Kerry, you're being excited to give us your top tip.
No,
I'm excited as well. I wonder what it is.
I know everyone's given all your top tips, so I've got nothing to say. Sorry, I'm out. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to put two little sneaky ones in. Just, I know a little bit about me, I guess, is I've been in the industry like Victoria for, I guess, 20 years now. Before Credit Fix Solutions, I used to work for a specialist lender. Now, I'll give you a tiny bit of my story. When I was working for a specialist lender, if a customer or a broker came to me with a default, I was told that credit repair was tarnished. I was always told, don't bother. It's all, it's all a money-making scheme. Would it work? So I would just obviously recommend the broker put the mortgage in at 6%, or whatever the rate would be. But I know as time went by, I realised, I found Victoria Credit Fix Solutions, and I realised how our service worked. I had a friend that wanted to become a broker, and we used the services, and it worked. So a lot of brokers still ask me now, or really still have that opinion that our industry is still tarnished. I know there are maybe some competitors that charge up front. Obviously we don't. We're no result, no fair, and we're making sure there's a benefit to the customer. But a lot of brokers still chat to me about what we do, and they don't really understand what we do. So I just wanted to explain how we're doing, how we're removing these defaults. And obviously it's legitimate errors and loopholes in the credit reporting legislation and from the Privacy Act. So for example, even if you accidentally didn't do your upfront credit report and you've lodged it into a lender, it's come back as a decline because there's a default, then we remove it. You could actually send that application back to that lender because it's a legitimate error that's been removed. I just wanted to touch on that just in case there were any questions, because it's a little bit of a frustration from years ago that brokers sort of don't understand exactly what we do and how quickly these lenders put these defaults, etc., on the client's reports. Secondly, bankruptcy is another frustration. I get lots of calls from brokers where the customers have gone into a Part 9 and 10 agreement, and I guess this comes with my background as well. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do, as Victoria mentioned before. Once they've gone into a Part 9 agreement, there's nothing we can do. But I just wanted to mention, I guess, as we spoke about education, we can always educate our customers. So it may be too late then, but if we can maybe get out our ebook or use our templates or brochures, we can try and educate our customers before it leads to bankruptcy, because we also have a debt negotiation service as well. So if they came to us before where they were in financial hardship, as long as we've got 30% of that cash up front and we've got compassionate grounds, we can try and go into bat and negotiate these debts down to get the customers in a better financial position. So that's my two little top tips that I get lots of questions over.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kerry.
No worries.
So, yep, top tip from Victoria.
They've done them all, moderator.
What about
No, I'm kidding. No.
Come on, I'm sure you can think of something.
No, but they were all so good.
Yeah, no, but you think of one top tip, and I've got one top tip to give as well after you.
What if I do the one you've got? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know. Look, just adding on to what Kerry just mentioned, it's not that we're going in and we're saying a debt is paid, they need to remove a default, right? It's a hell of a lot of work, and I'm not going to take it on. I'm not going to let the team take it on. We're not going to waste your time. If you need to go to Bluestone, Liberty, if they've got a property purchase that's, due in 2 weeks, we're just going to let you know, look, we can't help, or, it's going to take us 8 weeks to remove this default, or whatever. You just need to go to your non-bank lenders, right? But then again, we have to be careful because we can't actually give the financial advice. So if they have the debt negotiation that we do is usually, it's just to do with the defaults that are outstanding on their credit reports. Okay. So it's not, oh, you can come to us and we can help them out of bankruptcy. You need to get them to get some financial advice, because we have to be very careful to stay out of that space. But if they had 3 credit cards unpaid on their credit report from 2019, it was genuine hardship, banks or lenders genuinely didn't help them, yes, we can then go in and negotiate them down. But if they've gone to a solicitor, so if it's a court action or if it's a commercial debt, it's unlikely that we're going to be able to get them a reduced settlement. So yeah, just add to that anyway.
Great. Thank you very much. Now, I'll end it with this top tip that I have now. In fact, the top tip's got nothing to do with credit reporting. It's got to do with brokers. Now, I speak to a lot of individuals during the course of the day. Now, majority of our business comes from brokers across the country. On the odd occasions, we get referrals from friends, Google, etc. After we've cleared their report, we ask them if they have a broker, right? We ask them, do they have a broker? And they're like scratching their heads. What do you mean by a broker, right? And here I am explaining to them the importance of going to a broker. Now, we're talking about people who have never applied for a home loan or anything substantial. And I'm there educating them about the importance of applying through a broker, rather than going walking in through the front doors of a bank and putting an application in. And so I'm there educating, the broker will look at your credit file, they'll look at your income, they'll assist with this, they'll assist with that, they'll look at any shortfalls, your weaknesses, your strengths, and they can suggest to you what they can do for you, right? And the brokers deal with many lenders, and that's the importance of dealing with a broker. So my top tip is, guys, you need to reach out to as many people as you can and let them know exactly why a broker is beneficial. And that's my top tip to you. Because I see this every day. People are afraid of brokers. The first thing that pops to mind, or the first question I get is, how much is a broker going to charge me? How much is a broker going to charge me? And am I going to be paying more by going through using the services as a broker? Now, with respect, I just want to touch on this so it's nice and clear, with respect to clients that are happy to use a broker, we take down their postcode, we do a search on our system, and we find the closest brokers to where they live, and we give them 3 brokers straight off our CRM, right? So there's no preferred broker. So some of you may have received some referrals from us. Of course, we ask for nothing in return. We know you guys do a great job, but we do send out, 3 brokers in the client's area that they can contact and proceed, to applying for a home loan or whatever the case may be. So the top tip is reach out to everyone, tell them how great you are, because you are great. Let them know why they should use your services rather than walking into the front doors of a bank. It's very, very important. And I think you should shine the light on that a lot and as much as you can. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. We're going to send you further invites for AMAs, and there'll be other things that we'll discuss. Maybe on the next AMA, we may talk about and target different subjects with respect to credit reporting and how things are traveling with respect to regulations, etc., and bring some fun and exciting information to you guys that you can share with all your clients. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate
Thanks, everyone.
It. Thank you.
Thanks, team.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Thank you.